the presence of others who could help is sort of relevant because their presence typically leads to their actually helping, those other people actually helping prevent the very bad thing. So if there were other people who saw the child drowning in the shallow pond, well then, very likely, one of those other people would save the child, and then you wouldn't have to save the child. And if then you showed up and you at the meeting and said, hey, there was this kid drowning in the pond, and whoever was going to go in and save the kid was going to get their clothes wet, and someone says, your clothes aren't wet. Are you an evil monster? And you say, no, there were other people there, and someone else saved the kid. And they say, oh, okay, wow, that must have been something. Let's get on to our frat party or whatever we were about to do. The point is, the presence of others is only relevant if those other people are going to do something. If they're not going to do anything, then it seems like, at least to Singer, the obligation is on you. If there's other people who are able to see that this child is drowning, but these other people care a great deal about getting their clothes wet or muddy, and they're not going to step in to save the child, and you know this, and they say this to you, well, does the fact that they're there and they could save the child excuse you from your duty to save the child? No. If you show up at the meeting and you say, I was going to save this kid, but there were these other people there, and they say, who saved the child? And you say, no one saved the child. The child drowned. The child is dead now. Everyone would say, you're a monster. You're an evil person. You should have saved the child. You say, yeah, but there were other people there. Doesn't matter. The other people didn't do anything about it. So that means you have to do something. The fact that there are other people who could help in the case of famine, in the case of a drowning child, is itself irrelevant. What matters is if someone else does help, and then there's no more need for you because all the children have been saved or all the people have been saved from famine. A lot of people donate to organizations like Oxfam, some amount of money or other, but there's still plenty of people left who need to be saved. And so you have an obligation to them, according to Singer. The fact that there are other people who aren't helping also, that just seems totally irrelevant. Okay, a few ending notes. One, how much do we have to give? I mean, it's one thing to give up, 1 cup of coffee, right? Made at a fancy coffee place, right? But do I have to give up all the coffee that I might ever buy? Do I have to never buy coffee and never get a new car and never get new clothes? Am I allowed no luxuries at all? Do I have to give away so much of my money that I'm reduced to the level of the person who's suffering from this famine or near to that level? Singer says, maybe yes. He considers 2 versions of premise 1, right? And this is more specific and it's in the paper. I think it happens on, where does it happen? It happens on page 231. He considers 2 versions of premise 1, a stronger principle and a weaker principle. And this is the weaker one, right? According to the weaker principle, you just have to give up some luxuries. You don't have to reduce yourself all the way down to the level that's near equivalent to the people that you're saving. But according to the stronger principle, you do. And Singer actually thinks this argument basically works for the stronger principle. You have to give up a lot. Here's an objection, an additional objection that Singer considers. He considers this on pages 236, 237, 238, if you're looking in the text. This is just too demanding. This is too much to ask for people to give up all these things. To that, Singer says a couple things. One thing he says is, look, that is a standard, objection to utilitarianism. And Singer is himself a utilitarian, or at least he's a consequentialist. I can't remember. Anyway, he's close to a utilitarian, and he could be for the purposes of this paper. So, well, it's a standard objection against utilitarianism that it's too demanding. But Singer just thinks that this is a very weak objection. Maybe morality is very demanding. The argument seems to work. The fact that you don't like the conclusion, which is really what the too demanding objection comes to, the fact that you don't like the conclusion is not an argument that the conclusion is false. He considers another argument, this is on page 239, another argument that goes like this. If private individuals start donating money to famine relief, then governments will stop. And if governments stop donating money because the private individuals have got it taken care of, well, then very bad things will result. There won't be enough money because the governments are the real source of the money or whatever. Singer responds to this. Part of his response is to just say, don't worry about it. Not that many people are going to start giving. It's not going to prevent governments from donating money. Governments don't give that much money to begin with. And if you give every dollar that you have, that's not enough to affect how much governments give. You're not going to solve this problem on your own. And if your only objection is, hey, if I give all my money, I'll totally solve the problem, that's just a weak objection. Yes, you'll totally solve the problem. Good, solve it. The last objection that Singer considers, this happens on page 240 in the reading, is the thought that, well, look, if you donate all this money to famine relief, it's just famine relief. It's going to help these people. It's going to save their lives.
Will it help you in your career?
But there'll be
the short
another
answer
famine
is
in a few years from now. Maybe in that place, maybe in a different place. You're just postponing these famines. Singer says, no, you're not. Those famines are going to happen one way or another. And if you donate the money to help people who are dying of this famine today, and when he wrote this paper in 1972, there was a specific famine that he was talking about. If you donate the money, you will save these particular people's lives. And the fact that there's going to be more famines in the future, maybe that affect these people, maybe that affect other people, it just seems irrelevant. Think back to the shallow pond example. This child is drowning in the pond. You don't want to get your pants wet or muddy. So you say, well, look, if I save this child now, then this child is probably just going to stumble into some other pond later and die anyway. You would seem absurdly callous. You would seem evil. Singer says you would be evil. And if you don't donate all of this money that you spend on luxuries, then you are evil. That's what Singer says. Okay, so I think we can agree that the conclusion of this argument is radical. It's wild. It seems to show that everyone that you know is a terrible person, is roughly as terrible as someone who would let a child drown and die because they didn't want to get their clothes muddy. That's what the argument seems to show. That's a new thing. Like, you probably don't think that you and your family are evil, but the argument seems to show that. It's a very radical conclusion, and the problem is, it's very hard to see what's wrong with the argument. The argument seems like a good one, and it has seemed that way to everyone who read this paper since 1972. There are responses to it, and there are philosophers who try very hard and have very clever, careful things to say to try to show that this argument doesn't actually work. But at least until we get to read some of those arguments, you should try to see if there's anything wrong with this argument yourself. Peter Singer, by the way, he's still alive. I met him, right? We had dinner once, he gave a talk, and then anyway, I know him. I know celebrities.
Morgan? I don't know what I thought. It's good to see you. Is Transtar mounting a rescue operation? I was in fuel storage when the fire broke out and everyone began running. But they weren't running from the fire, it was these shapes. I had contained the fire and I was trying to reach the power supply when Officer Rose, came and got me out. I'm glad he did. I didn't know what was going on or anything about those things. Everyone I worked with aren't they? I wonder if one of the creatures caused the explosion in fuel storage. Are they intelligent? Did they plan this? I heard all the escape pods malfunction. All of them. How is that possible?
There's still hope. There must be.
How did this all happen? If only I could have put out the fire. It's contained, but I could have done more. If only I had reached the power supply in time.
There must be some way out of this. Where did those things come from? If you hadn't come along, I'd still be at your mercy. Thank you. Being controlled by these things, it was like I was watching myself with my voice was buried inside me. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't even do that. I felt like I was drowning in myself. I heard that some of the other security officers, Steve, they didn't make it.
Captain Elazar was worried about Mika. Thanks for saying.
What is it doing? Oh my God, did it?
I think I'm gonna be sick.
It just made another one of those things. Like it pulled it right out of Enoch's corpse.
Corpse? Maybe. I don't know, maybe it saved him. It could still be Enoch.
Does it look like it? Sam, promise me you'll kill me if I ever end up like that.
Sarah will get us out of this. She got us this far. We're safe from here.
For now, I'm going to check the perimeter.
those things move. It makes me sick.
Chief Elazar will want to talk to you.
Dr. Yu. Captain Elazar will want to speak to you. We only recently learned you were still on the station.
Who's keeping the fort?
I don't understand.
But it's just a saying. It means, are you doing okay?
Oh, I am, Officer Rose. Al, thank you.
Good to hear.
Target submitted.
Katerina, it's been so long since I've seen you.
Yes, it feels like years.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Deploying. Typhon. Scanning target. No Typhon material detected.
I don't think these PPN pistols are gonna do the trick. Not much choice.
Welcome.
Thanks for
Maybe I
getting to
can help
Mika. I doubt any of us could have done it. Even Elazar.
Why isn't Micah with you? Are you trying to get her to the lobby? Or your office? Morgan, you. I'm surprised you escaped SimLab. Yes, I knew about that. I checked the shuttle logs when the rumors about you being demoted started circulating.
I wanted to speak to you about the
All I
most recent
found
VIP
was
visit.
you checked into
Like
the SimLab
the
but never
pianist.
signed out.
If there were any problems,
Not sure
I checked
you
the schedule,
could.
the roster.
But it seems
I did
you've
my best to make sure
escaped.
Igwe wasn't too...
Just like these
Igwe.
creatures of yours.
Chief, I even
the
had
ones your
Leitner's
brother
cigarettes
said
waiting.
couldn't get
You
free.
did an excellent job.
Wish I had better
In
news.
fact, Leitner
We're holding
praised you
out here,
specifically.
but just barely.
There'll be a bonus for you and your
Standard
next
issue
space cycle.
PPNs might as well
Take
be
Nicole
kept
out for a
guns
nice
for all
dinner,
the good they
alright?
do to those things.
Yes, Chief.
Only way
Thank you,
back
Chief.
into Talos is through Cargo Bay B, and that's locked tight for our safety. And yours. You want the code? Help us fortify things here. That means eradicator turrets, and lots of them. To do that, though, we'd need fabrication plans and a working fabricator. And both of those are out of reach at the moment. The fabrication plan is in the safe in the security office, but the hull breach puts it out of my reach. Still, if you have a suit and are up for another walk, we could really use the additional firepower. Look, I don't know what you're planning, Morgan, but just remember, the only thing that matters is how you treat the people that are still alive. Those things will eventually find a way in here if we don't take the fight to them. Did you do something to the escape pods? Did your brother? I see you made use of the medical operator. That thing has saved us repeatedly.
Dr. Yu, heard you found the body of a smuggler in Cargo Bay. Quentin Purvis? Mika filled me in. I knew him. I didn't know he was involved in the smuggling ring on the station. Thought he was a friend. Guess I wasn't looking closely enough. The way they just consumed Enoch made him one of them. Is that what they want?
There must be a way to get some turrets online. These
Quit messing
TranStar
around.
PPN-8 pistols are mostly for show. They don't do much against the attackers. If you eradicate a turret, not a chance.
Down at cargo. Hey, listen, did you order any reployers from Earth?
Order any what?
Reployer. It's a machine.
Machine. What does it do?
Well, I'm not sure. I was hoping that you could tell me.
Wait, is this some kind of a joke? I'm busy.
You're an industrial designer, right? So I thought you would know.
You obviously don't understand what I do. And I didn't order any deployer.
Reployer.
Ask somebody in engineering.
Did. I've been asking everyone. No one ordered it or knows anything about it.
Weird. Well, perhaps I can come down this evening and take a look at it.
That'd be great. Thanks, Lane.
Yeah, no problem.
Power circuit checks out and fabricators online. You did it. We're not done with you yet. So get back here safe, all right?